is they come in the third place in the NFC East. All right, and as a result, I mean, are y'all pulling?
Are you putting any respect on Dak Prescott's name?
I was getting ready to ask that. I was going to there next because I want to ask you, RC. I want to make sure I'm clear. You sure you got that right? Where Dak Prescott's the most respected Cowboy? I mean, do people respect the dude that you know ain't gonna show up after January? I mean, I'm just asking. You said it. You said it. I'm just taking your words. I'm just taking your words as a fair question. I think it's a very, very fair question.
You're twisting my words now.
I'm asking a question. I'm asking a question.
Yes. The way that Dak Prescott leads, the way that Dak Prescott approaches his job, the man that he is walking in and out of that stadium every day, absolutely, he's the most respected Dallas Cowboy. And you act like Dak Prescott has never produced in his career.
I think
this is a guy that finished second in MVP voting 2 years ago.
Fabulous regular season quarterback. I think he's a fabulous regular season quarterback. That's what I think of him.
So there's no team failure in the playoffs.
I think that he's a fabulous regular season quarterback who does an outstanding job of making sure that he gets paid. I give him credit for that.
So he's Kirk Cousins. So he's Kirk Cousins?
Hold up. Can we lock in on their second half schedule? Because, Stephen A., I don't think you really looked at this.
I have the schedule right in front of me. Thank you very much. It's right here. It's right here, Molly. All the games. Right here.
Okay. Okay, so do you have a reaction to the gauntlet that is the second half?
I see a nosedive taking place after week 11. It's Monday Night Football, and then after that, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Vikings, the Chargers, the Commanders. I see the Dallas Cowboys losing at least 3 or 4 of those games. At least, okay?
That's why they got to start fast.
That's what. They have to start fast. So they have to really show up in September. Now, Brian Schottenheimer, did you talk about Brian Schottenheimer and changing the culture? I mean, that was funny to hear. You mean the Brian Schottenheimer that nobody was thinking about? Nobody wanted? That Jerry Jones just plucked out of obscurity and gave him the head coach?
He was the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, really. But who was calling the plays? Who's calling the plays?
Mike McCarthy.
There we go. So he wasn't even calling the plays. I mean, what was he doing? By the way, just educate me because I realize, I'm brilliant because I know I'm not. I listen to those who are. Y'all played, y'all won, I did it. I got to ask y'all a question. If you're an offensive coordinator, but you ain't calling plays, what exactly is it that you do?
So you help. First of all, you help with the game plan. You help with the game plan. I will say this.
Okay.
Now, when I played with the Jets, Brian Schottenheimer was my offensive coordinator.
Okay.
We were very successful during that time.
Yes, they were.
So,
You said the Jets were successful.
Two
AFC
championship games. He was the offensive coordinator.
I understand that, but I recall that's Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
That's Mark Sanchez.
That was right. Now he has Dak Prescott. Now he has Dak
Was the
Prescott.
offense anything to write home about when Mark Sanchez was the quarterback?
They were physical and they could run the ball.
Now he has Dak Prescott.
Championship game.
Now he has Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
But also, too, I remember this. Like a guy like Mike McDaniel, right? Yeah. Mike McDaniel didn't call plays in San Francisco, but he was the run game coordinator. When you look at what he was able to do offensively in Miami.
With Tua. What about with that?
Well, you need a good quarterback, Stephen A. I'm supposed to run Skylar Thompson out there and win
That's exactly where I'm going. You understand?
But Dak Prescott's a good quarterback.
He's a damn good quarterback in the regular season. He's a damn good quarterback in the regular season.
We're talking about where they will finish in the NFC East.
I can't do anything about the postseason right now.
I got you.
I'm just focused on the regular season.
I veered left. My bad. I'll get back to the regular season. Okay, so we just look at it. Just look at it right here. I mean, they do have the Packers week 4. Bears week 3, Eagles week 1. I see 2 losses in the first 4 weeks. I see two losses in the first 4 weeks. That's what I see. I don't know about everybody else. That's what I see, okay?
Okay.
And then I just...
That's an overreaction. It's not. Cowboys have a Week 10 bye, which is nice, but then after that, they play a Monday night game. Then they have a short week game against Philly, an even shorter week game against the Chiefs. They got a short week game on Christmas at Washington. The travel schedule and the rest schedule for the Cowboys in the second half of their season is extremely challenging, regardless of opponents. And by the way, those are some pretty good-looking opponents.
They have 4 Thursday night games or Thursday games this season, which is the first time any team has ever had that. When you see these schedules come out and you see it backloaded like that, and we take into account they bring in George Pickens and all that, what does it mean for the Cowboys?
I mean, it means the Cowboys need to start this season playing extremely well. They need to start at a high level. They need to start by winning football games. There will be no moral victories for Sharpe and this team early on in the season. When you truly look at this roster and the way they've built themselves offensively, this team can be extremely explosive, extremely competitive. They need to shore up some things on the defensive side of the football. But if they don't start early and if they're not winning early, we know how the cycle of what the voices outside of this building will say and the pressure that can be on this team.
Let me give you their first 4 games. They open, we all had seen that already. They open on that Thursday night at Philadelphia, the defending champions, and they're home to the Giants, then at Chicago, and then they get Green Bay. What will the Cowboys be after 4 games?
I want to say 2-2. I want to say 2-2, which, listen.
That'd be pretty good.
That'd be pretty good. I think the biggest thing for the Dallas Cowboys, listen, when Dak Prescott plays a full season, they're pretty much banked for 9 wins.
Exactly.
At minimum, okay? I think for them, the number one thing I said for the Dallas Cowboys, their offensive line needs to come together. They had no running game last year, and I think Dak Prescott operates best when they have a really good running game to go along with what they have on the outside, that they need to show up on the defense, the rush defense. But like RC said, they got to get out the gates quick because that back half, boy, it could be troublesome.
The trade they made for George Pickens really opened up my eyes. That was the aggressive move, and they didn't do it in free agency. They did it a different way.
When was the last time the Dallas Cowboys ever made an aggressive move like that? That's what we've been talking about with them for years. It's like, where's the move?
It sort of had to be laid up on a silver platter, and it was, with George Pickens being moved from the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it also finally showed that this team has a sense of urgency in trying to win and trying to do something different. But it doesn't matter if this team is 500, like Graziano said, after the bye week, it's going to be extremely difficult to win some of those games, not having rest, playing against good football teams. In that travel schedule, you have to have some momentum headed into that.
So the things that we were looking for yesterday, which teams got sort of favorable and unfavorable? That brings us to the Lions. If I were to say Detroit's 2-year streak of winning that division is in serious jeopardy, is that an overreaction?
Not at all an overreaction. Remember, they didn't win the division until the last week of the season last year, so tough division to start. But remember this, they had only 3 outdoor games all last season. This season, they have 7. And their road schedule, if you just factor in last year's records, their combined winning percentage of the teams they will play on the road this year was .667 last year. I mean, they have some tough games. They have some outdoor games. Jared Goff, 10 points lower career QBR outdoors than indoors. Going to be tougher for the Lions this year.
And the other piece of it is, too, you lost both of your coordinators.
Right.
This team, to me, was already going to take a step back before we saw how daunting this schedule can be. And when you start to be one of those teams that the expectation is now much higher than it has been throughout your history, when you hit adversity, those things are difficult to come through.
That's the thing. I don't want anybody to think I'm saying the Lions aren't going to be good. They won 15 games.
Yeah.
Like if they go 12-5, that's a really good year, but it's still a 3-game drop-off.
I think the biggest thing, and just kind of, piggybacking here, there's something real about brain drain when you're talking about, a team like the Lions. Think about it. We just mentioned their coordinators. We're not even talking about all the assistant coaches that they've lost. So they've lost a lot of really good coaches to other organizations.
7 of their 9 road opponents made the playoffs last year. The 2 that didn't are the Bengals and Bears.
Right.
The Bengals have Joe Burrow, and the Bears, we think, might be massively improved.
And the other part about this is, too, and D. Wood knows this, Graziano's seen it, supposed to and should have is draining as well. We were supposed to beat the San Francisco 49ers the year before. We should have gone to the Super Bowl last year, but we have injuries. You only get so many opportunities to capitalize on your window. And it's been 2 years in a row now that the Detroit Lions have fallen short. And now, because of your great success, you lose important pieces to the puzzle.
They open, the Lions open at Green Bay, then they have home Chicago, and then at Baltimore. That is potentially a very tough start for them as well. One more, Graziano. If I said Jackson Dart is going to be the Giants' starting quarterback by November, is that an overreaction?
It's not. The Giants knew they